Okay, we will discuss this concept as you have asked me. We will talk about dialectical materialism. See, we have already discussed about this in the theory of historical materialism. I have told you the source of that particular theory or the base of that theory. It is based on dialectical materialism. There I have talked about Hegel. We have discussed about Hegel, and we have also discussed about Hegelian concept. Okay, so Hegelian dialectic idealism. So dialectics are present. Dialectics means what? Some contradictions. So in every society there will be contradictions which will be present in the form of dialectics. Okay, so contradictions will be there and you need to resolve this contradiction, that is for sure. So this contradictions will be resolved through ideas. This is what the concept of dialectical idealism by Hegel. But what Marx says is, yes, it is ideas, but ideas are part of superstructure, which is actually shaped by the economic infrastructure. So it is ultimately not the ideas, it is the economic infrastructure. That means it is the material conditions which is the reason for change. So he proposed the concept of dialectical materialism. It is not dialectical idealism, it is dialectical materialism. The ideas are generated because of the material condition, change in material conditions. Now if you see the three main element of this concept, dialectical materialism, if the question is asked, you can talk from the perspective of Frederick Engels. Okay, Frederick Engels actually formulated this dialectical materialism concept through the Marxian writings. So there are 3 points you need to write here. First of all, there should be some antagonistic cooperation. Okay, so there will be cooperation, that means there will be unity among some section, but at the same time this is conflicting in nature, antagonistic in nature. For example, you can see master slaves, you will see lords and serfs, you will see capitalists and workers. They cooperate, that means there is a unity, but at the same time there is a conflict. So this is one thing, unity of opposites and also the conflict. Second is there will be something called as negation. We will discuss about this. Negation means overcoming of the old through new. So some contradictions here, this will be overcoming through new. For example, the ancient mode of production, contradictions are there. Negation of ancient mode of production is what? Feudal mode of production. So the problems in ancient mode of production is coming to overcoming, right? And then another negation is what you can see, capitalist mode of production. So you will see the negation. So I can say feudal mode of production is the negation of ancient mode of production, whereas this capitalist mode of production is the negation of negation. Second time is also happening. Then one more element in the dialectical materialism that you can discuss is, see, all these are from the Marxian writings only. I am not talking anything new here. One more element that you can write is change from quantity to quality. Okay, quantitative change to qualitative change. So initially there will be gradual quantitative changes. When we talk about quantitative changes, what we are actually discussing about? We are actually talking about the changes in the material condition or the changes in the forces of production, the tools, okay, techniques, etc., the FOP. That's what the quantitative changes. But with this change, what will happen ultimately? The entire mode of production will change at a particular stage when the mature condition exists, and that will be a qualitative change. So these are the three main elements which has to be there in your answer of dialectical materialism: antagonistic cooperation and the negation of negation, and also quantitative to qualitative change. So let's look into that. Marx used dialectics as a process of historical change in terms of different stages. We have understood what are these different stages in the Marxian understanding. So okay, if you get a question related to evolutionary perspective, can we say this theory is actually based on evolutionary perspective, right? Okay, because from primitive communism, then you can see the evolution, ancient mode of production, evolution to feudal mode of production, to capitalist mode of production. So this is how he understood the evolution of history. So history is seen through an evolutionary model. Okay, so this is actually use of evolutionary perspective. According to him, dialectics produce in terms of material conditions. In order to theorize the whole process of change, 3 laws of dialectics were framed by Frederick Engels, drawing from Marxian writings. So if you are okay, you can write it from your side. Otherwise, you can reproduce this exact same answer directly from the Frederick Engels. So three main laws are law of unity and conflict of opposites. This is nothing but the antagonistic cooperation. There will be cooperation, at the same time it is antagonistic. Conflict of opposites is also there, at the same time they cooperate. Secondly, law of negation. So there will be negation from one stage to the other. Then another, that is what negation of negation.
Sorry interrupting you. Sir, can in this first example, law of unity and conflict of opposite, can we give the example of that capitalist, the relation between the capitalist and the servers?
Yeah, capitalist and worker, that is the exact example. Third one, law of transition from quantity to quality. So gradual quantitative change, then sudden qualitative change. So we will see one by one. If the statement, if you can remember, it's not compulsory, but if you can remember, you can write it. There are internal sides, tendencies, forces of object or phenomena which are mutually exclusive but at the same time presuppose each other. So even though it is exclusive, like capitalist and workers, they are mutually exclusive, their interests are entirely contradictory, but they presuppose each other because both of them are required for the benefit of both of them. According to this statement, internal contradictions are present in society and are based on their conflictual nature. These internal sides are thus different or mutually exclusive, but at the same time, one side causes the existence of the other. For example, rich and poor. Without rich, poor cannot survive, and without poor also, rich cannot survive, because otherwise rich have to go to the market and rich have to do all these activities that they are not supposed to do, and they could have done it with the help of the poor people, and they can save their time and they can become further richer. So now both are interdependent. Such contradictions are present in nature as well as society. For example, day and night, it is a nature. Contradictions in society or the social opposites are created by the structure of society, or more precisely the economic infrastructure. So in the context of society, these contradictions are created by the economic infrastructure only. Second one, law of negation. So what do you mean by negation? Negation is the overcoming of the old through internal contradiction as a result of self-development and self-movement of objects and phenomena. So feudal mode of production was the negation of ancient mode of production, because in ancient mode of production some contradictions was there, so that was a negation. Then as it tends to resolve the contradictions of ancient society. The capitalist society is the negation of negation as it resolved the contradiction in feudal society. So ancient to feudal, this is negation, so to overcome the contradictions here. But still in feudal contradiction is there, so capitalism, it is negation of negation. Thirdly, law of transition from quantity to quality. The process of change is not simple or gradual, but it is a product of quantitative advances. That means over a period of time, tools, techniques, that means the forces of production keep on improving, which result in abstract qualitative change. So quantitative change is gradual and the qualitative change is abstract and sudden. That means entire mode of production will change, but quantitative, it will happen within the mode of production only. Okay, in capitalism, for example, the machines, tools and techniques are improving. That is quantitative advancements. Qualitative means capitalism to communism or socialism, when the mature conditions are present. Okay, so quantitative change relate to the gradual change in forces and relations of production which occurs during a particular mode of production. That means within the mode of production. These changes occur both in material and non-material forces, but Marx gives primacy to the material factors. That means economic infrastructure. Qualitative change represents the change of mode of production which occurs through revolution when the mature conditions exist. So that's about dialectical materialism. In case if you get a question on dialectical materialism, this is what you need to write. So, and if it is related to Hegelian idealism, if you need to write it as a criticism, discuss the concept of dialectical idealism also and write as a criticism. Okay, so that we have already discussed.